Welcome to Gracefully Grading. I am your host, Attorney Henry Gornvine. Today on Gracefully Grading, I am very pleased to welcome as our guest Nancy Heinrich, who is the CEO of Jewish Senior Life of Metropolitan Detroit, as she leads us in a discussion of some new programs being offered for older adults at Jewish Senior Life. Nancy, welcome.
Thank you, Henry.
First of all, why don't you tell our viewers about who you are and your background?
Sure. I'm a lifelong Michigander with just a few detours to Chicago and Arizona in the 80s and 90s. I got my undergrad and law degrees in Ann Arbor, and I'm actually a reformed real estate attorney. Practiced commercial real estate law for 30 years before accepting the position as CEO of Jewish Senior Life. But I had a really strong connection to Jewish Senior Life because I served on its board for more than a decade before I was asked to serve as interim CEO and then made CEO. So for almost the last 10 years, I've served the organization in this capacity, and it's been an absolute passion career move for me, one I never expected to have the opportunity to make, and I'm so grateful.
It's wonderful. Tell our viewers a little about your role as the CEO of Junior Senior Life.
As CEO, my role is to lead the organization and its over 200 employees and to oversee and set the direction of the agency. But I work with our board of directors on those last roles. They really help.
I noticed that you went to my alma mater for law school as well, so go blue. What is the physical structure of Junior Senior Life? Tell our viewers a little bit about that, Nancy.
Sure. So Jewish Senior Life is comprised of 6 distinct communities on 2 campuses in West Bloomfield and Oak Park. We also have an adult day program in West Bloomfield that serves with those with dementia diagnoses, and it also serves their care partners. It's known as the Brown Community Adult Day Program. We operate it with our partner, Gesher Human Services, that also runs a location in Southfield.
Tell us about the living arrangements that are there.
We have 4 independent living communities, and for those requiring assistance with activities of daily living, we have 2 assisted living communities as well. Each of the assisted living communities includes memory care. We don't have a nursing home in our continuum, and a lot of people get that confused. Notably, we have 3 different pay models in independent living. We have 3 HUD subsidized communities. You have to be income qualified. Your income has to be low enough to qualify to live in our HUD communities. And then you pay just 1/3 of your monthly income, whatever that is. And we also have 2 market rate communities where people pay market rate unless they qualify income-wise for a subsidy there. Jewish Senior Life provides some residents with subsidies in those communities. But we try to make all of our communities as affordable as possible, while also striving to deliver on our mission, which is to nurture a sense of community and enrich the lives of the older adults we serve. As a nonprofit, our mission is as paramount as profit is in the for-profit sector.
Just curious, how many residents are you serving now throughout all the campuses?
So at any given moment, we have about 800 residents, and over the course of a year, an average typical year, we serve close to 1,000 residents.
Nancy, tell us how JSL enhances the lives of older adults.
Sure. So, of course, we provide all of the residents and program participants with what they need in terms of shelter, amenities, nutrition, and care where appropriate. But we do it in such a way that we nurture a sense of community. And how do we do that? activities are incredibly robust, and we design them to cover a wide range of opportunities that support the 7 dimensions of wellness. These include spiritual, occupational, environmental, mental, emotional, intellectual, physical, and social dimensions. Whether that means providing volunteer opportunities to connect with the greater community, exercise classes, social activities such as happy hours and holiday celebrations, recycling programs, social work, referral support, etc. It's a JSL focus that we create community within our buildings, but also connect with the greater community. Because as we age, we really shouldn't have to give up that vital connection. As an agency, we're really fortunate to have so many connections to schools and houses of worship and other institutions that help us bring the outside community in and also give the opportunity to bring our residents to the outside community.
Nancy, tell us about some of the educational opportunities that you are offering for older adults. And before you go there, what is the age range of those who are residents of the various campuses?
Let's say, generally speaking, the age range is you have to be 62 to live in our independent living communities, but we range from anywhere from 62 to 105. We really have a broad range. And if any individual requires the features of a barrier-free unit, you can live in independent living at an even younger age. So there's quite a range.
Okay, tell us about some of the educational opportunities that you are offering now.
Sure. So in addition to our standard calendars of classes, which includes current events and lectures and out trips, etc., we recently developed a pilot program at the Mere Independent Living Apartments in West Bloomfield that we've called the Live and Learn Community. The program actually just won an award from our trade association, Leading Age Michigan, so now we can call it the award-winning Live and Learn program. We developed the concept, found interested and supportive funders, and created a special partnership with Oakland University to bring college-level courses to our residents. We've also tapped other experts in various fields to present courses as well. We polled the residents to determine their particular interests, and we now have completed 2 successful semesters. And the residents have been so engaged and enthusiastic. It's just so fabulous. Many have even stated that they found new purpose or new interests and inspiration. At a recent graduation celebration, one resident shared that she feels alive again. There isn't anything that a resident could say that would make me feel more proud and fulfilled and really feeling like we are accomplishing our mission.
Why don't you tell us about some of the programs that are actually being offered?
Okay. So right now, we offer programs that range from, say, 3 to 8 hours of class over periods of 3 to 6 weeks, but they also include one-off lectures. So topics range from history, political science, literature, music, writing, film, technology, and more. And almost all of our classes are taught and attended in person. Again, that's to really work on social interaction, which is a key component to Live and Learn.
Now, are the classes lectures, or do they all, are they given reading material as well as lectures? I'm thinking of going back to college and law school where you had lectures, but you had to do a lot of reading as well.
They're primarily lectures. When I was inspired to create this program, I was really thinking about the fact that if I could do retirement any way at all, it would be to go back to college. But how great would it be if I didn't have to write papers and take tests? So, this is designed to be, an easy access to learning. And so Sometimes in the writing classes there are assignments, but generally speaking, it's lecture.
And how many people are actually attending these various lectures?
So we have had about 100, more than 100 participants overall. In any given lecture, you might see 50 to 60 people.
Now, is it all in person or is some of it done remotely via Zoom or other matter?
Well, it's almost all live professor interaction with the residents on site. But occasionally we've had a Zoom lecturer from, if it's a particular, with a particular expertise, that we might get to Zoom in from another location. But the idea really is to have everybody learning together like in a classroom.
Now, your first semester was earlier in 2024. What were the highlights of your semester?
Our first semester was summer semester, and we were coming up to the 2024 election. So we had Democracy in America, the 2024 election in focus. It was 6 sessions. We had a short story seminar about family dynamics and a really interesting and timely course called News and Misinformation, Finding Accurate and Reliable Information in Today's Age. That was 8 sessions and very well attended.
You know who would have been a great speaker for that? You probably know her, Barbara McQuaid.
Oh, she would have been. Absolutely.
I've read her book. I've interviewed her several times, and we did actually a 2-part series on, just everything that's going on with regard to misinformation in our country. And she's a great speaker.
She's a great human being.
Yes. What about some of the other highlights from the first semester?
From the fall semester, we actually had some really great courses, and surprisingly very well attended, and maybe not surprising to you, but I think surprising to some of the participants was how much they enjoyed La Traviata, opera at its finest. Some of the students had never been to the opera, had never seen an opera, but they decided to participate, and they got so turned on. They're excited to do more with opera. So that class was concluded with a fabulous trip to see the opera itself, and the Marcia Applebaum Older Adults Enrichment Fund, which was one of our funders, had a connection at the opera, and we took our residents to the opera, and they got to meet the principals, and they had a beautiful reception. It was just phenomenal. We also had a great Film 101 class with Professor Tara Hayes. It focused on the classics Singing in the Rain, High Noon, Casablanca, and Notorious. And of course, the residents got to view the films in advance, and they loved it. We did another short story seminar on mistaken identity. And one I thought was really interesting, and we weren't sure if the residents would really stick with it, but they did, was AI, everything you need to know, but we're afraid to ask. They loved it.
What's fascinating. I mean, it's really one of the things that's really everywhere, and it's a tool, but it's also a double-edged sword that could really be a danger to everything going on in our lives.
I think all of us feel like we want to know more about it, and to understand those risks.
I've tried it. I do a lot of lecturing, and I've tried to ask some AI questions and things like that. So it is fascinating, but I also find it a little bit terrifying. What are the current programs that you have going on, Nancy?
So currently we're offering American political institutions, Congress, the presidency, and the Supreme Court, 6 sessions, a history of American musical theater, another short story seminar, Overcoming Adversity, and that'll feature Mark Twain and Stephen Crane. And then Film 102, we're moving on to focus on Ingrid Bergman as the cinematic legend that she is. I'll give you an example of one of our one-off Zoom lectures is called Frank Sinatra's Hollywood Songbook.
That sounds interesting. I mean, if I remember correctly, he was kind of known as a singer, and he was almost a has-been. And he did, what was it, From Here to Eternity, if I'm not mistaken, and that became his comeback. And then he acted in a lot of other movies and musicals. So it's fascinating. I mean, the whole history of film, I find it fascinating. Question I have, just out of curiosity. These are all attended as lectures, but are they ever filmed so that people can see them again and again, or see them more times?
No, they're just like any college course that is, it's live action and resident student participation, and we don't record them.
Okay. Have you ever thought of recording them? I'm just thinking out loud, because that way people who miss it might be able to participate or see it again at a later date. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's a good one. We'll have to think about it.
So tell us about some of the current programs that are going on. What are some of your future plans?
So I think I might have been out of sync with you because the ones I just told you about are on the current list. But our future plans, we're going to continue with our very popular professors. Dave Dulio of Oakland University does the social political classes, and the residents adore him. I'm sure we'll do more opera and film and short stories and other literature classes. But my main goal for the future of the program is to expand it to all of our communities. So we're working with our funders right now and looking to see if we can bring these courses to all of our buildings. So if we can do that, I think we will be touching the lives of so many people in this new way.
Well, it's wonderful. I mean, I think what you're doing is phenomenal, because really, I know I'm in an age where a lot of people, it's like you're retired and what next? And it's like people are bored unless you're stimulating them. It's like you got to give them a purpose. You got to give them a focus. And I think what you're doing is helping to do that. But one way to reach all the other communities is you do it live, let's say in West Bloomfield, but you have it on film so that it could be shown throughout all of your communities. I don't know. I'm really just brainstorming right now as we're talking.
I think, as much as if that's what I needed to do to bring some of the content to our other communities, I would certainly consider it. But I think what's so important is having that back and forth with the professor. I think one of the things that we really forget is that older adults are craving opportunities for growth. Our minds still work as we age. We can still learn new things. And when we do it together, we really create community. So I still want to bring that live classroom experience to all of our older adults, so they have that touch that I think is also really important.
Of the programs you've done, what do you consider the most successful?
I think the areas that have been most successful have been the social political classes, because they spark so much conversation, and the residents they spar a little, they get feedback from the professor, and it's just been very dynamic, I would say, in those classes. As I mentioned, the opera class was a surprise, huge hit for even the non-opera buffs. Um, Film is great because the residents have not only the classroom to enjoy together, but to see the films together. So those have been, I think, probably the most successful. But I would say some of the writing classes have also touched some of our residents very deeply. So something for everyone.
On a side note, a couple of months ago, I did an interview with Lynn Brewer
Hmm.
on Retirement Reimagined. I know that was just starting. How is that going, and what's going on with regard to that?
Well, Lynn works with the Jewish Family Service, and so we're not in the
You're
same
separate. Yeah.
organization. But everything that JFS does and everything that Lynn does is phenomenal. So I'm sure it's going great.
What else would you like to share with our viewers? We still have a few minutes left, and if there are other programs you have in mind or other things, and tell us, share it with us. This is your chance.
So, I think that one thing that I really want your audience to know is that we are Jewish Senior Life, but people of all faiths and beliefs are welcome and encouraged to join our communities and to share in our Live and Learn program and to experience um, a different model for senior living. Nonprofit is has a slightly different focus. I know that all senior communities are wanting their residents to have wonderful experiences. But when you've been doing this work for over 100 years, like we have at Jewish Senior Life, um, there's a special commitment and warmth. And we welcome everyone to join us and be part of it. And you don't have to be Jewish, just come and enjoy our beautiful residences, enjoy our programs, enjoy our learning opportunities, um, and help us build community because that's what we're all about.
Nancy, a number of years ago, I think I interviewed you when I was first starting Gracefully Graying, and I also interviewed one of your residents, and I know I've seen her on the web page. I think was it Nancy Califf?
Yes, yep.
How is she?
She's fabulous. She's participating in our Live and Learn program at MIR. She she served as the resident council president for years, but she stepped down recently. But she and her husband Manny, they're superstars. They're just wonderful, warm, and welcoming individuals, and they could be the poster children for the MIR building because they welcome everyone and they're just wonderful.
You're doing a wonderful job, and I think our tagline for Gracefully Graying is living life fully, and I think what you're doing with these current programs are helping your residents to live their lives fully. So before we sign off, what are some final thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers, Nancy?
Um, I would just say that being an older adult, making a decision to move to a community like a Jewish Senior Life community, it's not the end, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of a new journey that is as wonderful as you're willing to make it. And if you find the right community that has the resources and the supports that you're looking for, it's something to actually really look forward to. I always say that people fear that they're giving up independence when they go to a senior community. But the truth is, you actually gain independence because what you need is either on site or supplied by the community. So you don't have to bother your children to get to the grocery store or a doctor's appointment or to socialize with your friends. So I think we all need to think about those years differently and think of them as an opportunity. They might be challenging, but there's also lots of opportunity. And I think they're called golden years for a reason, but it's about how we look at them.
It's all perspective, and what aging is a number, and it's a new chapter. And I guess what you've got to do is look at it as an opportunity. And Nancy, as always, you're more than welcome as a guest, and I want to thank you so much for being our guest on Gracefully Graying. And this program sounds wonderful. And again, I want to thank you, and I want to thank our viewers and sponsors for making Gracefully Graying possible. Thank you so much.